The Banshees of Inisherin. The Banshees of Inisherin is a 2022 dark tragicomedy film directed, written, and co-produced by Martin McDonagh, set on a remote island off the west coast of Ireland. The film stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson as two lifelong friends who find themselves at an impasse when one abruptly ends their relationship, with alarming consequences for both of them. Kerry Condon and Barry Cohen also star. It reunites Farrell and Gleeson, who previously worked together on McDonagh's directorial debut in Bruges 2008. 0.2022 dark tragicomedy film by Martin McDonagh. The Banshees of Inisherin had its world premiere at the 79th Venice International Film Festival on September 5, 2022, where Farrell won the Volpe Cup for Best Actor and McDonagh won the Golden Osella for Best Screenplay. It was theatrically released in Ireland, the United Kingdom, and United States on October 21, 2022, by Searchlight Pictures. The film received widespread acclaim from critics, who praised McDonagh's screenplay and direction, Carter Burwell's score, and performances of the main cast. It was also named one of the best films of 2022 by the National Board of Review. The film also received a leading 8 nominations at the 80th Golden Globe Awards, the most achieved by any film since Cold Mountain 2003 in 2004, winning 3 Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, Best Actor Musical or Comedy for Farrell, and Best Screenplay. Blood. At the tail end of the Irish Civil War in 1923, on the fictional Irish Isle of Inisherin, folk musician Colm Doherty abruptly begins ignoring his lifelong friend and drinking buddy Padraig Sullivan. Padraig, though nice and well-liked by the islanders, is too dull for Colm, who wishes to spend the remainder of his life composing music and doing things for which he will be remembered. Padraig's life is destabilized by the loss of one of his few friends. As Padraig grows increasingly distressed at the rejection, Colm becomes more resistant to his old friend's attempts to speak to him. Colm eventually gives Padraig an ultimatum. Every time Padraig bothers him or tries to talk with him, Colm will cut off one of his own left fingers with a pair of sheepshears. Padraig's caring sister Siobhan and troubled local boy Dominic attempt to defuse the pair's escalating battle. Their efforts prove fruitless. After a drunken Padraig confronts him in the pub and then attempts to apologize, Colm cuts off one of his fingers and throws it on Padraig's door. After Padraig sees Colm meeting with a fiddler from the mainland, Padraig tricks the fiddler into returning home by lying about his father's death. As the tensions worsen, local elder Mrs. McCormick warns Padraig that death will come to the island soon. Meanwhile, Siobhan gently rejects Dominic's earnest romantic advances. Padraig visits Colm to reprimand him for behaving so badly. Colm reveals that he has finished composing his song, which he calls the Banshees of Inisherin. Padraig suggests that he should go ahead to the pub and order them a couple of pints. Colm says that would be fine. Padraig tells Colm about lying to the fiddler to run him off the island, and that perhaps all 3 of them could have drinks. Colm cuts off his remaining left fingers with the shears and throws them at the door of Padraig's cottage. Sick of life on the island, Siobhan moves to the mainland for a job in a library. Padraig comes home to find his pet donkey Jenny has choked on one of the fingers and died. A heartbroken Padraig blames Colm for Jenny's death. He confronts Colm to tell him he will burn his house down the next day. Padraig sets the house on fire, taking Colm's dog to safety. As Padraig leaves, he sees Colm sitting inside the burning building. The local policeman, Dominic's abusive father Peter, goes to Padraig's house. He is diverted away by Mrs. McCormick, who wordlessly leads him to Dominic's corpse floating in the nearby lake. Next morning, Padraig, with the dog, finds Colm standing on the beach beside his burnt-out house. Colm apologizes for Jenny's death and suggests destroying the house has ended their feud, but Padraig informs him that it only would have ended if he'd stayed inside the house. When Colm wonders if the Civil War has ended, Padraig states he believes it may be a good thing that there are some things that can't be moved on from. As Padraig turns to leave, Colm thanks him for looking after his dog. Anytime, Padraig replies. Unbeknownst to them, Mrs. McCormick had been watching them from afar. Cast. The film's stars: Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. Colin Farrell as Padraig Silibin, Brendan Gleeson as Colin Doherty, Condon as Siobhan Silibin, Barry Cohen as Dominic Kearney, Gary Liddon as Garda, Peter Kearney Short as John O'Divide, Sheila Flitton as Mrs. McCormack, Bernini Chain as Mrs. O'Riordan, Jen Kenny as Gary, Aaron Monaghan as Declan, David Pearce as the Pristla, Serfona as female singer, John Carty as older musician. Production. In February 2020, Martin McDonagh was reported to have set his next directorial effort up with Searchlight Pictures, and it would see him reunite with his In Bruges stars Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell. In August 2021, Carrie Condon and Barry Cohen were added to the cast. Principal photography began in August 2021 in Inishmore before moving to Atchel Island later that month. Locations used on Atchel include Clonmore, J.J. Devine's pub, Pertine Harbour, O'Riordan's shop, Keembe Colm Doherty's house, Corrimore Lake, Mrs. McCormack's cottage, and Street Thomas's church in Dubert. Filming wrapped on 23 October 2021. Music. Main article: The Banshees of Inisherin score. The original score is composed by Carter Burwell, McDonagh's frequent collaborator. McDonagh did not want Burwell to compose an Irish-based score despite the film's setting. For Padraig's character, Burwell approached a childlike and Disney character-based score and also used fiddle-themed compositions for Colm. The film's soundtrack was digitally released by Hollywood Records on 21 October 2022 along with the film. Release: Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, and Martin McDonagh at the premiere of the film at the 66th BFI London Film Festival. Banshees of Inisherin had its world premiere at the 79th Venice International Film Festival on 5 September 2022, where it received a 15-minute standing ovation from the audience, the longest of that year's festival. It also screened at the Toronto International Film Festival that same month and was screened as the opening night film of the 31st Philadelphia Film Festival on 19 October 2022. It was theatrically released on 21 October. Earth Film was released on rental PVOD and made available to stream on HBO Max on 13 December 2022 and was released on Blu-ray and DVD on 20 December 2022 by 20th Century Studios Home Entertainment and Disney. Buena Vista Film was released on Disney as part of the Star Content Hub in selected regions on 14 December 2022 and 21 December 2022 in the United Kingdom and Ireland. The film was also released on Disney Hotstar in India on 14 December. As of 9 January 2023, The Banshees of Inisherin has grossed $9.20 million in the United States and Canada and $15.60 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $24.70 million in the film's opening weekend. In the U.S., it made $184,454 from 4 theaters for a per-venue average of $46,113, making it the second highest grossing opener for a fall 2022 platform release, behind Till. The following weekend, the film expanded to 58 theaters, making $535,170. The following weekend, it expanded to 895 theaters, making $2.10 million and finishing 7th at the box office. These results were attributed to the increasing change in audience behavior towards prestige films in a movie-going environment altered by the COVID-19 pandemic, where moviegoers would refuse to see and support these particular titles in favor of franchise and straightforward horror films. In its first day on VOD in the United States, the film debuted on iTunes and was the second most watched film on HBO Max in the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes. A percentage of 306 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of, the website's consensus reads, featuring some of Martin McDonagh's finest work and a pair of outstanding lead performances. The Banshees of Inisherin is a finely crafted feel-bad treat. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 87 out of 100, based on 62 critics, indicating universal acclaim. Peter Bradshaw from The Guardian gave the film 4 out of 5 stars, writing that as a study of male loneliness and swallowed anger, it is weirdly compelling and often very funny. Todd McCarthy from Deadline Hollywood wrote that the film was a simple and diabolical tale of friendships and shot through with bristling humor and sudden moments of startling violence. He also praised Ben Davis' cinematography and Carter Burwell's score. David Ehrlich from IndieWire rated it B, writing that its constant undercurrent of humor affords the story's most pressing questions an appropriately ridiculous context, one that speaks to the absurdities of all existence. He also called it McDonagh's best work since In Bruges. Matthew Creef from Screen Rant noted the film's demonstration of the metaphorical aspects of civil disobedience and internal protest between a set of individuals is remarkably hilarious. The New York Times' Kyle Buchanan wrote, "The film was rapturously received here in Venice, earning a lengthy standing ovation and rave reviews." In a review for Variety, Guy Lodge wrote, "What begins as a doleful, anecdotal narrative becomes something closer to mythic in its rage and resonance. McDonagh has long fixated on the most visceral, vengeful extremes of human behavior, but never has he formed something this sorely heartbroken from that fascination." David Rudy from The Hollywood Reporter called the film a ruminative ensemble piece that expertly balances the tragicomic with the macabre, inhabiting territory adjacent to McDonagh's stage work yet also sweepingly cinematic. Writing for the Boston Globe, Mark Feeney gave an unenthusiastic review, describing it as a short story trying to be a novel and calling the metaphor for the Irish Civil War awfully flat-foot. The film appeared on a number of critics' top film lists of the best films of Earth. Chris Stuckman, James Berardinelli main article, list of accolades received by the Banshees of Inisherin,